Welcome back to Sunrise. If you're just joining us, thanks for coming along for the ride. Now, let's talk about something exciting happening in Jamaica's energy sector. Have you ever heard about the Strengthening Energy Sector Resilience in Jamaica program? It's a 3-year partnership between the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and the Jamaica Energy Resilience Alliance. It's set to help Jamaican businesses amp up their energy game, from cutting costs and beefing up their power supply reliability to going green with their operations. Chair of the Jamaica Energy Resilience Alliance, Cadmus Group, Mark Dennis, joins us to tell us more. Welcome, Mark. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what is, first of all, let's start with this USAID supported initiative. Where is this coming from?
Well, it was a project designed actually pre-pandemic in 2019, where we decided that the hotel sector in particular, being large contributors to Jamaica's GDP, are also heavy energy users. And so we wanted to design a program specifically to impact the hotel sector, to reduce the energy consumption, but most importantly to build resilience into the hotel sector, which would in turn build resilience into the energy sector as a whole, since hotels are such large contributors.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this for a long time. I remember in a budget presentation, I think it was Prime Minister Golding, so you know how long ago that was. It was about making hotels more energy efficient, you know, putting in place the technology to shut off lights when you come out of the room, all sorts of Have we not moved in this direction, or have we not moved fast enough?
We have, I think some may argue that we have not moved fast enough, but there's always so much more to do. Jamaica has long had targets for renewable energy, energy efficiency, energy resilience on a whole. So there's still a lot to do, and we believe with this program. So I did mention the hotel sector previously, but we're also pivoted to the manufacturing and exporters sector.
Right.
Most because of the pandemic. You remember 2020 and 2021, there was a large lockdown, and so we had to pivot to the manufacturing and exporters and other sectors, all aiming towards the same target of building energy resilience in Jamaica.
When we say energy resilience, for the layperson, what does that look like? What does that mean?
Sure. So energy resilience means, in particular for commercial and industrial players, in simple terms, they can continue to provide themselves with energy in the event of natural disasters, in the event of whatever reason the grid going down, fluctuating energy prices. They can continue to provide themselves with power, and they can also predict their cost of energy, which is also important, right? It's more predictable, it's more stable, and it's lower as well.
And you know, the biggest question I have now is, why is it that as an island who experiences sunshine for 478 days, I joke, I'm kidding, but the point being, we have more sunshine than we don't. Why is it that we haven't perhaps moved more in the direction of being more dependable on solar energy as our primary go-to?
Well, actually, that was one of the objectives of the program, to try and increase the use of solar, particularly in the commercial and industrial space. We've had a lot of solar in the utility space, selling to the utility. But Jamaica, as small as Jamaica is, still many will argue that the demand for power is fairly high and complex and really requires a balance of energies. So even though, yes, we do have a lot of sunshine, it's important to match supply and demand and ensure that we have a mix: solar, wind, natural gas, and other sources of fuel.
In terms of this initiative, you know, the work of the Cadmus Group, you're looking at the partnerships with UE and LASCO. Tell us a little bit about these partnerships and how they're helping to move us forward.
Sure. So you would have mentioned at the beginning the Jamaica Energy, the Jamaica Energy Resilience Alliance, which is really an alliance of private sector groups like LASCO, academia like UE, as you just mentioned, research institutes like Rocky Mountain Institute, and solar developers like Wigton Wind Farm and Exergy. And it really is a model of public sector, private sector, and academia. Public sector, as we know, government's role is to create that enabling environment so private sectors can thrive. And they do that through policy and standards, which should be best governed through research, best case scenarios, which comes from academia. This is where the academia side comes in, and research comes in. And then once the environment is created, it's for private sector now to take advantage of that environment and build up the resilience, again, which we're aiming for, while at the same time making profit, because private sector, of course, wants to make money, right? Wants to make profit.
Well, it's so funny that you just mentioned that, because, Mark, I've often wondered, you mentioned academia and research, and so it's always puzzled me. I know it's supposedly expensive, but can we not look further into desalinization of water?
You just said it's expensive. That's been the problem.
Is it really expensive?
It's energy intensive. That's the problem. And we are not yet at the stage in Jamaica where energy is cheap enough.
Right.
To have, because I know a lot of people say that Jamaica is an island surrounded with seawater. But it's a very energy intensive process. And until we can get really cheap energy, it's not so much a practical solution as yet.
But this is where now I want to play devil's advocate. Because when you say a cheap solution, isn't that controlled by the stakeholders? Dun, dun, dun. Does anyone want to actually make it cheap? This is the question, Mark.
I think so. It's a balancing act between having cheap supplies of energy and ensuring that our supply is reliable and sustainable. And we do have a ways to go. I think, from the policies that I've seen, and the actions that I've seen both from government, private sector, and academia, I think we're all working towards a nice mix of energy at a lower cost.
Right.
So hopefully it gets cheaper eventually.
Are we moving in the right direction?
I think so. I can't remember the figures, but I think Jamaica currently is maybe about 15% renewables. We have policies right now that are geared towards significantly increasing renewables. We just had a request for proposal recently that sought to procure 100 megawatts, which for the layman is a significant amount of renewable energy. And we have another RFP coming soon that's supposed to procure over another 100 plus megawatts of renewables. So I think Jamaica is well on their way to 50% renewables by 2030 that we've outlined in policies.
Bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So we're on the way.
Yeah.
We're on the way.
All right.
Can I come in the lab with you?
Sure.
I'm
ready,
a proper
no problem.
undercover nerd when it comes to stuff like this, you know. But I don't even know if I'm that undercover anymore.
I don't think so.
Yes. I really want to find a way to do desalinization without it being costly.
We get in there, man.
Let's work on it.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We'll get there.
All right. That was Mark Dennis, the chair of the Jamaica Energy Resilience Alliance, Cadmus Group. Coming up next, it's time for actually, it's your Monday morning checkup. Ooh, the eyes going because I'm not so young. Please stick and stay.